curious aroma. Interesting blend.
Interesting bullshit. That's the bomb right there.
I'm looking for a new sound. WUTANG always needs to be moving forward.
Stop trying to control everything. It's only a matter of time before they start to present you for.
Why are you changing our brand?
Y'all can't just trust me, yo?
How about you trust us?
You're about to snap. I can see it.
Shit is way more fun when it's out of control, son.
They gonna hold money from us that they owe.
What's going on, YouTube? We're back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Nimes' YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we back with another TV show review. And of course, we got WUTANG and American Saga, my bad. And this is the final season, man. We got a lot of TV shows, the ones in particular that I like, that are on their final season. And this is definitely one of the ones that I've been looking forward to, especially going into this being the final season, man. We are on episodes 4 and 5, yeah, 4 and 5. And we going to episode 4 pretty much with them going on tour. And this is, I think, this is not their first tour, because we do get them talking about, especially Devon kind of talking about how it's been on a couple of first tours or whatever. But we get them pretty much going on tour. We got some of the guys being interviewed, because I think RZA had a magazine reporter come out trying to do a little bit of promo for the album or whatever. And this is pretty much seeing a lot of the relationships some of these guys have had as far as going into the success of the group as far as WUTANG, especially with the individual success. One thing I took notice of this too was the way RZA, and I'm not gonna say he just seemed kind of standoffish now, because the whole thing with them setting up the tour buses or whatever, and understandable, because Devon is basically trying to get him into that position of getting back into being a performer and a rapper or whatever, because when the group is on stage, like, he's a part of the group too, outside of RZA, as far as him being a producer and executive or whatnot, and still doing the business too. You know, it's still getting him back in that format of being around the guys or whatever, especially when they on stage performing, to have that chemistry performing in front of an audience. So I definitely understood where Devon was coming from, but with RZA, it seemed like he just like in his own little zone, and he really ain't with everything that's going on as far as everybody else, and he kind of seeming standoffish a little bit. But I don't know if it's just that of him trying to stay in that creative mode, and maybe he need to be to himself to stay creative. But that was a little interesting thing with the way he was kind of acting with the whole bus situation in particular. But once again, man, this is a very, very good scene, especially with them being on the bus, because it's showing a lot of good bonding moments with all the guys. Once again, ODB standing out and everything. But another thing I really enjoyed was, once again, them going into kind of the relationships between the guys. Not necessarily beefs, but you can kind of see where the group is at as far as with the success that certain individuals, in particular guys like Method Man. Like, Method Man is at full-on stardom now. Like, his album is on the way to going double platinum. Even if somebody ODB or whatever, his album is gold. So they are kind of the bigger ones, or the standouts out of the group right now. So you kind of are starting to see a little bit of the friction within the group a little bit, especially when they're kind of having these radio interviews or whatever, and you have certain ones in particular like UGOD or even a MASTAKILLA kind of feeling like they kind of not in the group like that. In particular, UGOD, who has been around with these guys for a minute, he's been there from the beginning or whatever, but he's not even on as many songs, and I kind of didn't remember that as far as him not being on that many tracks or whatever. But even somebody like MASTAKILLA, who wasn't around at the time but kind of came in new, you kind of could see that rift between him and Raekwon, because Raekwon kind of looking at it from a money aspect, like, we got 8 people in the group, now you bringing in MASTAKILLA, and he not even on none of the songs, or I think he on a couple of songs, but he not on that many, maybe I think like 2 songs or whatever, just like you got. So he looking at the situation like, we all supposed to be getting paid 8 ways, but you paying MASTAKILLA 2, so basically we getting paid 9 ways. So is he a part of the group? Like, is he officially a part of WUTANG or what? So they do dive into a lot of those things, which are a lot of good moments, because once again, once you start to get that money and that success come about, then a lot of relationships can start to it can kind of become a rift, especially even within a brotherhood. But I also like the way it kind of seems like, even with RZA and what he got going on, they are still maintaining that brotherhood. It's just the fact that, once again, you still got a lot of these guys that are young too still coming in, and it's their first time access to this type of money. So another thing I like, you see kind of how RZA is feeling with the Ghostface situation, because Ghostface, has a relationship with his sister. But the thing with Ghostface and RZA's sister is they kind of got this understanding that Ghostface gonna do his thing, as far as having side chicks or whatever. But just don't bring him home, don't have no relationship with him, You're supposed to always come home, as far as this whole understanding that Ghostface and RZA's sister got. But RZA, he really not feeling this. The whole thing is, like, Devon tries to tell RZA, like, his sister's grown, she makes her own decisions. Not only that, her and Ghostface got to understand it, but RZA, he pretty much being big brother. So once again, I think that's kind of another thing too with RZA, and why he don't really want to be on the bus like that. And it's all, once again, about the whole bonded thing with them. That's another thing I'm really liking about this. And if you're talking about good representation, this is definitely one of those shows. Once again, showing real world aspects and showing all of these guys that's able to stick together and come together to form this conglomerate as far as Wu-Tang. Superstars, all of them. But that whole riff thing, and especially with them kind of getting into that situation as far as why they on tour, with who's standing out of the group, who not getting enough attention, well, not even attention, but even with the whole thing with the solo projects, because you got this perspective of somebody like INSPECTAHDECK, nigga come in spitting, like, and he was a majority of those Wu-Tang songs. Think about Triumph. Who was the first person on Triumph who kind of come in and annihilating it? INSPECTAHDECK. But even way before that, as far as just 36 Chambers and all of that, he kind of notices that, you got Raekwon getting a solo project, ODB, Method Man, of course, and I think GZA, Liquid Source, yeah, he was getting his solo project, and you got somebody like INSPECTAHDECK looking like, I've been on majority of our hit songs, so where's my solo project at? So that's another thing I'm liking what they're doing as far as this final season, is getting more attention added to some of the guys who wasn't as mainstream as the other Wu-Tang members. UGOD, MASTAKILLA, I would even say somebody like Capadonna, and once again, they said UGOD, MASTAKILLA, and was it somebody? INSPECTAHDECK. But I feel like INSPECTAHDECK got that attention, but not as far as with solo projects, I don't feel like. So outside of what they got going on as far as the tour and whatnot, when you kind of go into another thing as far as the whole situation with the managing situation, because the manager who they got, he kind of doing some side things as far as getting a little bit of extra money, and this is the whole aspect of the money thing coming in again, and you got Ghostface kind of looking at it. One thing I really love about what they doing with this show as far as the relationships is they keep building upon Ghostface and Raekwon's relationship, because they always seeing eye to eye. They always right here, and once again, I'm hoping, and it looks like that's what we're gonna get as far as the build up for them doing the whole only built for Cuban links, because in the previous episode, as far as the first three, you've seen them kind of getting into that conversation as far as Raekwon kind of telling Ghostface, like, I would need you to do this with me. I need you with me, because Ghostface, he don't got no solo project on the table right now. And I'm wondering if they even gonna go into that as far as Iron Man after they do the whole only built for Cuban links project. But after the whole situation with the tour and them doing that or whatever, we going to episode 5 and they pretty much coming back home off tour. But one thing I forgot to mention is we kind of get this cliffhanger at the end of episode 4 with UGOD, and he get into a situation where his son is actually shot, and this actually is a situation I think really happened, because I watched the Wu-Tang documentary on Showtime, From Mics to Men. So that was kind of a cliffhanger, because now you got a situation with a person like UGOD who I ain't gonna say he frustrated, but he kind of feeling a certain type of way already because of what's going on, not with the tour, but just in general with his position in the group. But now he got this situation with his son, and he's just on some shit like, I'm done, like I'm off, like I gotta get back to the house, I gotta get back to Staten Island right now. Shout out to Power, man, because once again it's showing you the bond these guys got, but not only that, how they try to look out for each other. Because Power, being a guy from the streets, he immediately goes to you guys like, yo, I know your situation, I hear what's going on, but don't get on that street shit. But you guys, he really ain't trying to hear that, man. So we go into episode 5 where you guys pretty much seeming like he's on the revenge, like he trying to find out the situation with his son. So we are pretty much following him. And episode 5 is really, really, really a good episode because we get kind of a character-focused episode on three of the kind of lower level Wu-Tang members. I ain't even call them lower level, but some of the guys who kind of, like, once again, they had that mainstream stardom, like some of the other guys, like I said, Method Man, Raekwon, Ghostface, ODB, and them, and RZA. So we get kind of like these individual stories with Mastakilla, UGOD, and INSPECTAHDECK, and kind of showing them doing their own thing or whatever. But it's a real good one we get with INSPECTAHDECK, because they got a project coming up with them working on a soundtrack for a Spike Lee movie that he's producing, just so happened to be Tales from the Hood, and I forgot they was on that soundtrack. But you got, once again, INSPECTAHDECK being an individual who don't have a solo project on the way, he ends up working on this song for the soundtrack. And it just so happened to be a hell of a song. But the thing about it is, once again, you are showing this brotherhood. Because when other group members hear the song, I think in particular, was it RZA? It was somebody who heard it. They was like, yo, you need to put this on. Why? This is your song. And INSPECTAHDECK, he's like, nah, I didn't do this for me. I did this for the group. Being that they about to do this for the whole soundtrack to the Spike Lee movie, or the Spike Lee movie he producing as far as Tales from the Hood. Once again, man, representation is showing you these young black men that's able to come together, but not only work together, to keep constantly looking out for each other, man. And I definitely enjoyed that. Another thing that we get with UGOD, another good moment. Once again, Power, people as far as the Wu-Tang constantly looking out for each other and making sure UGOD didn't do something that he was going to end up regretting. Not only regretting, but could have possibly ended what he was trying to do with the position he was in as far as this newfound stardom and success, and what he would be able to do for his family, even though he dealing with this situation as far as his son. And we would not know how we would react to finding out a situation happened to one of our children, especially dealing with something like that. And coming from the environment he's come from, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of good building moments and a lot of good character development when it comes to getting these three individuals, as far as UGOD, INSPECTAHDECK, and Mastakilla. Talking about Mastakilla, man, because, you know, he's kind of feeling some way, especially when they go into the whole thing with Raekwon kind of not calling them out, but kind of calling out the situation as far as is he official or not, since he's getting paid for being on the road with them or whatever. So he's kind of seeming like feeling a little bit ways towards Raekwon, because Raekwon does kind of try to come to him and holler at him, letting him know it wasn't nothing, like, you know what I'm saying, personal or whatever. But, you know, he is taking it that way. But we get a really good scene with Mastakilla going back to, you know, his neighborhood, because everybody's pretty much going back to their neighborhood or whatever. INSPECTAHDECK, you got in there, but you know why you got in the situation he got going on. But really with Mastakilla, it's going back kind of to his grounds, and he's kind of on that thing that, on that, I don't know if you even call it religion, but, you know, the whole steps or what they go by as far as like jizzing them. And what he was doing as far as in particular the first season and second season, when you know they go by the whole thing of what's today's mathematics, and pretty much trying to speak of the knowledge of what you are, pretty much what you have gained, or what do you know, or what you got moving forward as far as an individual. But it's really the conversation between Mastakilla and one of these young individuals that's working at a barbershop that I think he was at before he ended up going to work with the group or whatever. Because it's one of these young guys that's pretty much not really trying to listen, not trying to hear the older individual that he is in there pretty much working with or whatever. But once again, you have a positive role model in a positive situation, and you got Mastakilla pretty much going out there, not confronting him, but pretty much trying to say, yo, what's today's mathematics? Trying to see if he's up on his game or whatever, and seeing that he is kind of up on what he's supposed to be learning or whatever. But once again, it's just that interesting conversation between him and Mastakilla. That was a good episode. I enjoyed the episode, man, because I like the way they dived into these three individuals as far as episode 5, ones that I'm not even really familiar like that, especially with MASTAKILLA. I'm on UGOD and INSPECTAHDECK, especially INSPECTAHDECK, but when it comes to MASTAKILLA, I'm really not that familiar with him as far as the him being in the WUTANG, just like Capadonna. Those probably the 2 individuals that I'm not really familiar with as far as WUTANG go. But outside of that, man, I'm enjoying the show. Really looking forward to where they about to go with this, because we get this little ending scene where Ghostface kill a girl pulling up and she's playing Biggie Smalls, and I think this is Biggie's first, just Juicy, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, she playing Juicy. So you got kind of woo as far as Ghostface and Raekwon feeling away, because you know they kind of been holding it down as far as 36 Chambers, but they ain't really released no music lately. And you know the whole thing with New York, real competitive, and around this time, this is a real MC space. So now they've like, damn, this nigga Biggie, he out here spitting. So it's kind of that build up for Raekwon and Ghostface to start working on Only Built for Cuban Links, which I'm hoping that's what we about to do. Like, you know how many of them tracks on Only Built for Cuban Links, Knuckleheads, Criminology, man, Rainy Days, all of them, basically, if not majority of them, are Raekwon and Ghostface. So I'm definitely looking forward to if they about to go into that whole process. Being that, I wonder how many episodes, is this going to be regular 10, or are they going to do a couple more since it's the final season? Because I'm hoping we're going to get something which Triumph, you know, Wu-Tang Forever, which was their second project outside of 36 Chambers. So I'm hoping we're going to get that too. I don't know if they're going to have enough time to kind of dive into that, but hopefully we do. But I am enjoying this, man. Like I said, y'all let me know how y'all feeling about this last season, and as far as these couple episodes that we've been getting. Once again, I'm loving the representation. Shout out to, once again, the performances as far as the actors that are embodying these roles. A lot of people, include myself, kind of was saying that old buddy didn't look like RZA, but I feel like he's pulling off his mannerisms. I ain't got to say nothing about the guy playing ODB. My boy playing Raekwon, I already said it. I'm glad he kind of put that weight on. You know, Raekwon was kind of heavy a little bit back then, and you know, that was Raekwon though, the chef. I always said the dude playing Ghostface didn't give me Ghostface vibes sometimes. He didn't definitely look like her, but he is growing on me. He is still growing on me, but I still kind of off of him a little bit. But other than that, it ain't taking nothing away from me from the show, and I'm still loving that bond and relationship they keep building between Raekwon and Ghost, especially coming off what we seen with them from the first 2 seasons. So y'all let me know how y'all feeling about these 2 recent episodes as far as 4 and 5. More recently, the episode 5. Let me know how y'all feeling about them. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell, let you know when I upload new videos. Other than that, we out.